Ever been in a cave, pitch black, and you hear that sound like a click, a bat?
Right.
They use that echo, that sound to see, to like map out the whole cave.
It's echolocation, yeah.
Echolocation, yeah.
Very
It's
cool.
incredible. But get this. We use a similar idea to see inside your eye.
With ocular ultrasound.
Ocular ultrasound, exactly. And that's our deep dive today. How it works, how it helps us see, and why it's a game changer for, keeping those peepers healthy.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. We're basically sending out these sound waves way too high-pitched for us to hear, and then we're listening to how they bounce back. And those echoes, they paint a sonic picture of what's happening inside the eye, showing us things we might not be able to see just by looking.
Okay, hold on, back up a sec. Sound waves. Why not just, use light? Don't those fancy eye doctor tools already do that?
You'd think so, right? But sometimes it's like trying to look through a fogged-up window. Things like cataracts, bleeding, even swelling, they can block the view. That's where ocular ultrasound swoops in. It's like having X-ray vision for your eyes.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's like a superpower, letting doctors see past those roadblocks and figure out what's really going on.
Exactly, and it's not just one type of ultrasound either. It's more like a whole toolbox, each tool giving us a different piece of the puzzle.
Oh, interesting. So it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. There were different ways to use ultrasound to see the eye.
You got it. We've got A scan, B scan, Doppler ultrasound. Each one is unique, like having different lenses to get a clearer picture.
All right, I'm intrigued. Let's break down these different lenses because right now it all sounds a bit like, those different settings on a camera.
Well, imagine you're an eye doctor. You might start with A scan, which is like your trusty ruler, giving you precise measurements of the eye. Say you need to know the exact length of the eye for cataract surgery, A scan is your go-to.
So A-scan, it's all about precision, nailing down those crucial measurements.
Absolutely, but then you might switch gears to B-scan, which is more like looking at a detailed map. It creates this two-dimensional image, helping us spot things like a detached retina, bleeding inside the eye, any structural weirdness that might be hiding.
Okay, so if A-scan is the ruler, B-scan is like the blueprint, laying out the land, so to speak. What about Doppler? Where does that fit into our eye exam toolkit?
Doppler, well, it's like adding sound to the picture.
Literally.
Yeah. It picks up the sound of blood moving through the vessels in the eye.
Whoa.
Which is huge for diagnosing things like glaucoma or even tumors, because in those cases, blood flow is a big deal.
Okay, so it's like we're listening to the heartbeat of the eye.
In a way, yeah.
Wild. All right, so we've got our ruler, we've got our blueprint, and now we've got our stethoscope
That's a good way to put it.
with this awesome sonic toolkit. When are we actually breaking out the ocular ultrasound? Are we talking like every routine eye exam, or is it more for specific situations?
It's definitely more of a special ops kind of tool. When those tricky cases pop up, that's when ocular ultrasound really shines.
Tricky cases, like what? Give me an example.
Okay, so picture this. A patient comes into the ER after a fender bender, right? There's some swelling, maybe a cut or two. But the big question is what's going on inside the eye?
Right, because you can't just like pry the eye open to take a look.
Exactly. Especially in a situation like that when every second counts.
And wouldn't some injuries be totally invisible to the naked eye anyway?
You're absolutely right. That's where ocular ultrasound comes in. It can reveal a detached retina, bleeding inside, even a rupture. All things you need to catch immediately.
It's like having X-ray vision all over again, seeing right through to the problem.
Precisely.
Are there other times when we need those mystery-solving powers?
Oh yeah, all the time. One example that always surprises people is how good ultrasound is at finding foreign bodies in the eye.
Okay, foreign bodies. You're gonna have to elaborate on that one.
We're not talking about like an eyelash in your eye here. I mean things like tiny metal fragments,
Yeah.
shards of glass even.
Wait, hold up. Fish bones. How does that even...
Fish bones. It happens more often than you'd think, and it shows just how sensitive ultrasound technology is. Sometimes these foreign bodies are so tiny they're easily missed at first glance, but if you leave them in there,
Not good.
not good at all. You're talking infection, inflammation, all sorts of complications.
So ultrasound helps us find those hidden dangers before they become big problems.
Exactly. Early detection is key.
Are there other situations where catching things early is super important? We hear about early detection all the time, right? Catching things early can make all the difference.
Huge difference.
Is that true with eye problems too?
Oh, absolutely. There are some conditions where early detection is critical. Take retinoblastoma, for example. It's a type of eye tumor that mainly affects kids.
And ocular ultrasound helps with that.
Big time. Finding it early with ultrasound can literally save a child's sight.
Wow. That's incredible. Before we get too far, I got to ask, where's all this tech headed? Earlier, you hinted at some seriously futuristic applications for ocular ultrasound.
Oh, we're just scratching the surface. 3D ultrasound imaging is becoming a game changer.
3D ultrasound for eyes. Like, we're not just talking about those grainy black and white images anymore.
Nope. Think of it this way. Going from a flat map to a 3D globe, right? That's the kind of detail we're talking about. It lets doctors see tumors and other eye structures in incredible detail, which is essential for making the best treatment decisions.
That's wild. It's like giving doctors a high-tech roadmap for navigating complex eye conditions. But you also mentioned something about even higher resolution. How much clearer can it get?
Well, one of the most exciting advancements is ultrasound biomicroscopy. We call it UBM for short.
UBM. Okay, so is that anything like those OCT scans? I've heard those are pretty high-tech.
They're in the same family, but UBM uses sound waves to create the images instead of light. It's especially powerful for viewing the very front of the eye, the cornea, iris, even the lens in microscopic detail.
Seriously, we're talking about seeing things that were impossible to visualize before without, like, major surgery.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
Okay, so UBM is like having a microscopic superpower that lets you zoom in on these tiny structures. What kind of impact is that having?
It's a total game changer for diagnosing and treating conditions like glaucoma, corneal diseases, even problems with implanted lenses. We can see things with a level of precision we could only dream of before.
It's amazing how far we've come, right? We started talking about bats navigating in the dark, and now we're talking about using sound waves to see microscopic structures in the human eye. It really highlights how powerful this technology is in eye care.
Absolutely. Ocular ultrasound, A-scan, B-scan, Doppler, UBM, the whole toolkit is a testament to how innovation can totally transform medicine. It's letting us see the unseen, diagnose faster, treat more effectively, and ultimately create a brighter future for people struggling with eye conditions.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's not just about seeing inside the eye. It's about envisioning a future where technology like ocular ultrasound helps us see clearly, literally. Listener, we hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into the fascinating world of ocular ultrasound. From echolocation to 3D imaging, the future of eye care has never sounded so promising.